All right. I'm going to go ahead and give my video a shot, but if the thing screen starts freaking out on me again, I may have to go off the video. We'll see. But hello, my name is Paul Reed. I am the digital marketing manager here for Advisys, and I'm really excited to take you through our presentation today. We're looking at this concept of comprehensive conversations and how to make them, a little bit more simple for yourselves. So really what today is a high level look at, how we think we fit into the idea of comprehensive planning, the components that make up a comprehensive financial plan, some of those kinds of high level things. And then we'll take a look at some of the ways that you can use the Advisys planning software to kind of accomplish some of these benchmarks that really check the boxes for creating a comprehensive conversation, right? So let's begin. Again, the purpose of today is really intended to help financial professionals, whether you're a life insurance agent or a series licensed individual who's selling, really talking more about investment products, to help them understand how you can create a comprehensive financial plan in a less complicated way, right? We're going to look at Advisys, as I mentioned, and look at how you can accomplish these things while building trust and rapport, keeping things simple and kind of keeping things tight and tidy, right? A little bit about myself. My name again is Paul Reed. My formal role with Advisys is digital marketing manager, but I wear a lot of different hats, as you can see, as a presentation speaker, as a digital marketing person, as a content marketing person, as a conference representative. So I'm out there in the field, kind of like you guys are, just talking to everyone about what makes you successful, what makes your client interactions go, and then taking that back to what we do and trying to improve the product at a bunch of different levels where we can, right, to help align to what it is that will help you guys in the field. So let's take a look at a high level for what our presentation will be today. I want to give a little bit of introduction for those of you, because I did, should have some new people here maybe that aren't as familiar with Advisys, and probably some people that are. So I like to always start with like a high level introduction to who we are, what we do, and kind of why we put these kind of presentations together for people to come and attend and learn a little something from, and also to showcase what we do, right? So we'll talk a little bit at a high level about us, talk about what is comprehensive planning and what is a comprehensive conversation, right? Because those are kind of two different things, but they're intertwined together. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll talk about Advisys and how those two things come together. What does a comprehensive plan look like with us? What does the workflow look like? And is it easy? And we'll hope to show you some of the new things that we've added to the tool that really kind of tie what we've always done and feel like our strengths of ours, tie all that together, right? And then at the end, I always like to leave, and I'll try to take questions along the way. I have see, here we go. Are you guys getting a screen flash on that? I'm gonna go ahead and stop my video here. We get a memory issue on my computer here sometimes when I try to stay on video, or it wants to not show the screen too many things at once, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my video just for the sake of the rest of the presentation. Guys, got to look at my face. I don't think I'm the draw here anyway. So I'm just, for safety's sake, going to turn that off here. All right. So we'll have some time for questions along the way as well. Hopefully, if you guys use the chat function, use the Q&A function. I have that up on my other screen. So, if there's something I can elaborate on, or if you're having any problems audio wise or video wise, are you guys seeing a flash on the screen there? Can I get anyone in the chat saying yes or no on what I'm seeing, this black flash that happens? Nobody? Okay. All right. I'm going to assume it's only me and proceed accordingly. All right. So without further ado, let's take a look at Advisys at a glance. Chat is disabled for Lynn Schmidt. Okay. Question is an answer. That shouldn't be the case for everyone. Some people I know company-wise don't allow that, but use either the question and answer or the webinar chat if you can't use that. It should be available to, oh, there we go, to everyone. Thanks, Lynn. Actually, you're right. I did have that turned off. All right. So chat should be open and functional now. So Advisys at a glance starts with being accessible. What I mean by accessible is that we are a tool for everybody. We're not just a specialty product that is used in one area of planning. What we do offer is something that you can use in nearly every client interaction, right? So whether you're, like I said, a life insurance agent or somebody who, focuses on a complete financial plan, there's lots of resources available for you in our platform here. Right. The second thing that we are is educational. We really truly believe that education as a means to communicate, what your services provide and the value of making informed choices gives you a lot more than just being a sales representative, right? Gives you some depth to the why that you do this. So we really stand proudly by the education that we provide, the different kinds of education. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But that's a foundation of what Advisys provides. The third thing that we love to say is we're accurate. We keep our material up to date. We are, listening to the field at all times about what needs to be added and putting things into work to get more content in there. But we like to stay ready and stay compliant for you guys all year long. That means that what you get out of the tool is, at the ready and can be used whenever you need it, right? The next thing is we like to say we're smart. A lot of people think about comprehensive planning and think complex, and we just don't necessarily agree with that statement. It does need to be, expansive. You need to be able to talk about a lot of different things, but not all at once every time. So at Advisys, you'll always be able to create what's needed and nothing more, right? And if that is talking about 10 different topics all at once, great. But more than likely, you're going to build on this relationship that you have with this individual. And our goal is to help you look professional while you're doing it. Keep you looking professional, keep the cohesion and the path forward very clear for the individual. And some of what we've added to the tool provides a really good high-level look at just that, right? So that's Advisys at a glance. We'll go into that a little bit more in a moment. But I'd like to set the stage for really what the topic to today's webcast kind of teased, which is how do we fit comprehensive planning and comprehensive conversations with clients and prospects, right? So the first thing I wanted to take a look at is what exactly is comprehensive financial planning? Well, it's really a process just involves analyzing all aspects of a client's financial life, right? Sometimes it's called holistic financial planning or life planning. I've been with Advisys now, I think 9 years. I've been to, I hate to say 50 plus conferences. I've hosted all different kinds of webinars and breakout sessions, and there's always different vernacular that's assigned to what we call it. But the goal is that you want someone to be able to come with you with important questions about their life and money more directly, right? And you want to be able to help guide them and make them feel like you are the one that they can trust, right? That way they refer their friends and you can that's really how you build a business off of this. Some people get started in this business through family, some people, dial for dollars, but it all comes down to like the services you provide and the personal brand that you present, right? And a lot of people, it doesn't matter if you're not series licensed, you can still offer services in these areas where comprehensive planning lives. And starts with budgeting and cash flow and managing your money. It goes into risk management and insurance, which maybe that's your bread and butter, maybe it's not. But it really involves all these components, including your debt, including maybe they own a business or want to start a business. Can you confidently say, I can answer questions from a client in any one of these given areas, right? And can I do that in a way that fits them as an individual as well, right? Because the last thing that comprehensive financial planning really includes is helping them consider that relationship they have with their money. And then that goes a little bit deeper sometimes into their values, risk tolerance, some of those other things that, again, maybe it's not even you, but you have a network of professionals that you refer business back and forth to. This can go both ways, but understanding how to get them started, get them interested in a topic, that's where the comprehensive conversation kind of comes in. Because as I said, comprehensive isn't always complex and, data oriented. It doesn't have to be 40, 50 page fact finders to be able to talk about these topics. But you do need to be able to talk about it all and understand how it all fits together, because they're not isolated. That's the last part of this, is that it is important to consider all of this together, because none of these are universally isolated from one another, right? So a comprehensive plan really just means, hey, we are comfortable about talking about all these things. Maybe it's through one product set. I know that just from my experience, insurance, life insurance, people short it in the real world. I'm telling I don't even sell this stuff, but I tell my friends and family all the time, take a look at it, because it can be, part of your retirement plan. It can be part of your investment portfolio. It can be a way to protect your small business, in the case of a buy-sell agreement, things like that. So, don't sell yourself short and think, oh, just because I focus on life insurance, some of this doesn't apply to me. You just have to find a different way to look at it, right? So we like to say that Advisys does a really good job of handling every single one of these topics in quite a few different ways. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So a comprehensive conversation, it involves, in your guys' particular area of expertise, it involves education and your depth of knowledge and showing them that you know what you're talking about, and then being able to help them understand relevant concepts beyond maybe what their main concern is today, right? And being able to do that in a way that then creates that light bulb moment for them while you're doing it. The second part for a comprehensive conversation is facts and findings. At the heart of what we do is we are a financial planning presentation tool, right? So we are entering data and doing things, but we want to be able to stand on the fact that if an educated client is a confident client, and a confident client moves forward with what's going to be best for them when recommended, right? So facts and findings are important, but we want to keep it concise. And then lastly, how do you connect that all to the big picture? Because everyone kind of sees these as different maybe stops on a map, if you will. There's so many different analogies that we can use, but it all needs to tie back together so that when they take that 1,000-foot view, they see, okay, I see what the value is that's being provided by the advisor, right, or by the insurance agent. All of this to say that what we're hoping to do is find a way to create a comprehensive plan for an individual that makes sense for them, right? Whether that's, only one or two topics, maybe they're focused primarily on just getting their debt paid off. We want to be able to provide value no matter what the conversation is. But then beyond that, we want to match the type of information that we're giving them to the type of person that they are. So here I have, identifying and matching that client to the style that they receive and absorb information is a really key part of any effective presentation. And generally, people fall into one of two categories when it comes to receiving information. And I tee all of this up to say that when we create a comprehensive plan or comprehensive conversation with someone, we want to take this into consideration as to what's going to be effective. Because if you're a captain, I'm getting ahead of myself here. If you're a captain type, you want to keep it high level. You want to know the bottom line, and you might already consider yourself knowledgeable about some of these topics, right? So the reason that we point out this is sometimes the captain doesn't want you to explain in depth, how this thing works. He may already know some of it. So how do we present him something that's still comprehensive, meaning we're talking about all these categories, but we're still fitting the needs that individual has for how they like to absorb and receive information. The second person is the analyst, and you can really, this is just two sides. There's obviously different parts to this within these two archetypes, but if you can generally identify the individual as one or the other, you're a step ahead of what other people maybe are thinking already. So the analyst is your detail-oriented person. You might provide them a spreadsheet that has all the data on it as opposed to a summary sheet. You might provide them a 6-page explanatory report on a particular topic that they're looking for as opposed to a 1-page summary. These guys are going to be a little bit more considerate to the information that's being given, so I call them more apprehensive. That's not again wholly true, but they are going to want that information. They are going to be looking for that information before they're ready to make a decision. So when I'm creating a comprehensive conversation for them, I need to take that into consideration, right? All right, so at a high level, we understand what goes into a comprehensive conversation. Again, it's all these things, all these different topics. It starts with your budgeting and cash flow. How do you manage your money? Talks about where are your assets today? Are you covering yourself in any of these areas already? We want to be able to take a look at that in a way that makes sense to the client, and that makes it easy for the the end user. That would be the financial advisor and you guys to, oh goodness, okay, we can get out of this now, to talk to a client and talk them through some of these different topics. I'm hoping this does not continue. Again, does anyone see that but me? Maybe it's just me and I'll ignore it. But no, if no one sees the screen blinking, I'm just going to continue. All right. So here is Advisys. Advisys is, like I said, really at the heart of what we do is financial plans and presentations. But within the tool itself is a lot more than just data in, data out. We provide education, we provide calculators, and now we have these new summary reports that we're going to highlight today that really tie what a plan can be together for an individual, right? Yes, it's going black. Thank you, Mike, for speaking it. All right. So, but it's not continuing. So I'm going to say blinking, but not very frequently. Thank you, Thomas. Wonderful. I thought me logging out, logging back in might help, but if it's still happening, we're just going to power through. That's what you got to do. The show must go on. All right. So it says chat is still disabled. Okay. Well, I did my best to make that open to everyone, but I want to kind of continue here. So it does look like the question and answer is working, and I can see that right here as well. So, all right. So Advisys is more than one thing, and a lot of people, when they think of financial planning tools, they're thinking about the bells and whistles. I liken it to, when you buy a house, the things that you want and really like pine over are not really the things that matter as much, right? You like the black backsplash a certain way, you want the tile a certain way, but the value of the house is a lot of times in the bones and location and things like that. It's true of a plan as well. You can give someone a lot of data back, but it's not going to mean anything to them necessarily if they can't make sense of it. So always in Advisys, we like to start with saying, each analysis, each of the 17 different needs that we kind of cover, which is our take at a comprehensive plan, right? You can talk about every one of those things that we listed before: personal finance and debt, retirement planning, estate planning, small business planning. All of that is in here, and we have education for it. We have different calculators that'll help support it. And your job is to kind of pick and choose what will work for the person that's going to be sitting across from you. Whether you decide to present it live or to do it in the form of like a PowerPoint or PDF, it's really up to you. We just kind of give you the resources to be able to put it all together. So starting in the analysis tab, you'll see all of the different needs analysis that we have. You can decide to do these individually. This is where your own process kind of comes into play, or you can decide to use, our analysis assumptions to build a fact finder that includes just the topics that your individual or client is interested in. And for today's purposes, I've kind of selected some that I think are kind of the core ones that fit our market segment of kind of the middle market of, everyone has debt, everyone's worried and managing their money, whether that's paycheck to paycheck or not. We have some sort of sense of how much or how involved they are with their money, right? So we want to include their debt repayment and personal finance. Then from there, they all have short-term goals. We want to go on vacations. We want to have an emergency fund. There's all these different things. So we have a couple of short-term goals plugged in here as well. Then kind of the core two needs that we all have is to plan for the future, plan for our retirement, and plan to protect what we have now, which is our survivor needs or our kind of life insurance take, right? So here I've selected these 5 different topics. And what I get is a now 7-page document that includes all of this. So from a comprehensive perspective, I can decide what I want to include in the conversation, build this. Now you see, I already have all the data in here because that would be a really long webinar to sit here and watch me input this stuff, but it really doesn't take that long to kind of gather. And you'll find as you go through each one of these, if you're not already familiar with this, that everything that we ask for is very high level, just enough to get the data out and to be able to tell the story about a need in that particular area, right? So you can do it this way. You can also use our, fast track. If you're brand new to this, you can follow this kind of same procedure, except for what we'll do is choose all of the reports for you. Choose some education, base level education, choose a couple analysis reports to go along with each topic. And all you do is enter the data. That's a really neat, if you're brand new to the industry and maybe just trying to get your feet wet, or brand new to Advisys, this is a really good way to kind of understand what a presentation can look like in this tool and how it can build on what you're already doing. Whether you have your own fact finder or not, this is kind of a really good way to take a look at it. Okay, so after we've decided what kind of topics we have, we've entered some data. We can go back through and enter them, topic by topic if we like, or we can use this input client to enter it all at once. Then once we have all that data, we have a lot in here, but I don't want to go into that right away. I want to kind of take a look at this brand new stuff that we have in here. The brand new reports are summary reports. And what we're doing with this is, earlier when I selected those 5 different needs analysis to kind of make up what is my comprehensive conversation in this instance, all of that data is now funneled into these summary reports. And we have 3 different kind of ways that we can look at this information that we have entered for the client. And the first of which is our analysis goals report. This is a kind of a smart timeline, if you will, on some of the key things that came out of the different needs and areas that we've started to gather information on the client for. The first of which is those short-term goals. Now, this is a brand new report, as we said, so we're absolutely going to look at maybe improving this by adding, a midterm, long-term goal. We're kind of got a couple great suggestions from the field already on what we can do to enhance this. So, keep in mind, anything like that, always let us know how you think we can improve the product. There is an 800 number. There's a suggestion button on the home screen that you can go to and kind of let us know what you think about some of the features and things like that. I can tell you we get some feedback, but I would love more from you guys on how we can improve and what we can do to make this really pop for you guys. But this particular report, like I said, takes some of the information that's available to us in those analyses, like, a short-term emergency fund goal, the day that you're going to pay off your debt, the day that the kids go to college, when you hope to retire, what year, so that we can start to help them visualize when these kind of important milestones are coming up. Now, right now we have 4 main areas that we're looking at, but again, always looking to expand that and enhance that as time goes on. Right. So here you kind of have a high level look, but you didn't really have to enter any data or anything extra to get this, right? If you don't have any short-term goals entered, just uncheck the box and recalculate the report, and it'll remove those from there, and you won't show anything, right? It's pretty simple. So that's kind of the first one. It's a high level. Where do you want to go, right? We always talk about goals. We've had in the product before a static goals report that allow you to capture some of these kind of milestones, but these go a step further to say, hey, this is when it's going to happen. It's on the horizon, and we can kind of focus on the things that are upcoming, or at least be able to talk to them in a more direct way, just from gathering that data from the needs analysis, right? All right, so that's the first look. The second look is the financial inventory report. This is more like a snapshot of where you're at today. Every conversation we're having, whether it's about debt repayment or saving for retirement or buying life insurance, whatever it is, kind of stems from this sheet right here. What's your income? What are you making? How much of that's going to savings right now? What do your current expenses look like, household and otherwise? What other assets do you have to support all these needs and wants that you have in the now and in the future, right? What are your current liabilities, both debt and your home mortgage? I deleted that out of there for the purposes of illustration here, but we'll add a home mortgage in there. And how does that all play into your overall financial picture? Right. So this is a good come back to as time goes on, as things change, to be able to say, hey, are these still good? Are you still making $65,000 a year? Should we be, is it actually accounting for less of your overall savings now because, your employment rate's gone up? There's a lot of different ways to use this, but it's a good way to have everything in one place. There's other companies out there that I think charge a separate fee for something like this as an add-on. But really, we thought, hey, we're already gathering this information. Why not be able to put it on a single page for people to see? And then this is going to feed into what the last report does. When we take a look at what we have and where we're at, we can start to see where we're going, right? And the last report really is meant to illustrate that. And that's our financial fitness report. This report, and I'm going to hide, let's try to make this the best size it can be. This report takes all of the information that's in each of the needs analysis that I've selected here today, and we actually have more that I have not included today, and we build out a one-page score for each area of need, right? And the way that we do that is we say, okay, well, let's say, for example, I'll take that retirement. In retirement, you're not quite there. You have some saving to do, you need to make some adjustments, and we can go into more depth there. But based on where we're at, 60% of your retirement expenses would be satisfied. That could mean a reduction in your overall lifestyle and spending. It could mean that we make some adjustments in your savings. We can go into more depth. That's what the needs analysis is for. But at a high level, I can tell you that maybe it's an area of concern we want to take a look at. Same thing with life insurance. This is a little bit more of a red area for us. Right? We know that only 26% on average of your family's needs would be satisfied in the event of, the death of one of either parent. And then there's some different ways that we do that. We take a look at what each individual need is in that one, and then we average those out versus their overall need. And you can see, if I wanted to, I can go back into the needs analysis. Again, all I've done at this point is enter the data, and I can pick and choose which reports I want to be able to explain those different areas of need. For example, retirement, I'd bring up the one-page retirement needs analysis that shows them why they're only at 60%, where each of those areas of income are coming from right now, and make sure that, hey, this is accurate, and yes, there's something that we need to do about it. Then I can definitely follow up that with our other alternatives to achieving retirement goals report that talks about those different areas that we can do. Are we increasing your savings? Are we earning more on your assets overall? Are we spending less in retirement, or maybe we thinking about readjusting when we're going to retire? Right? That doesn't need to be the conversation when you're at the summary level. At the summary level, it's just, hey, here's where you're at based on the data I've input, and then I can decide what this report is. If I'm not ready to talk to them about, their retirement yet, I just uncheck retirement from the summary. I click calculate, then retirement's not there yet, right? It reformats the report, and only those scores that I wanted are on there. So this is a really great way to, again, decide what does comprehensive mean for your individual client. Now, I don't want to be overwhelming. Comprehensive sounds overwhelming to people, right? So sometimes comprehensive needs to be spoon-fed, and that's really what we're trying to do here, and give you the flexibility to say, hey, here's where you're at. If I look at these 4 areas of need, this is what your score is. If we do bring in retirement, though, which I did gather, it does affect things, right? And we want to be able to kind of show them that when the time is right. So these 3 reports are really at the core of tying all the loose needs analysis that we had together into one really easy to understand format, right? So when I'm building a presentation, these are kind of now what I would consider must-haves for you. Whether you're talking about one topic or multiple topics, you can really use it as a means to build on what it is that you're walking through, right? So I'm starting with my cash flow. I'm walking them through, hey, here's what your income and expenses are. Looks like we have some unaccounted for savings. We probably need to go back through your budget and look at really where that money is going. A lot of things can come out of just that, those fundamentals. If you're a sports fan at all, and we're getting to my favorite time of the sports year, where all the sports are happening at once, fundamentals are key. And so starting here, you absolutely, may just keep it simple. This is not a product conversation though, right? This is a best practices conversation. Saving for the future in the form of a short-term goal, like, or for a vacation to Kauai, doesn't require me to, position a product to you. Well, really what you need to know is, what you need to do to get there, right? And some people can do this on their own, but isn't it nice to be able to do it for them and provide that value when they have that kind of question, or you realize because you talked about the last time you went to Hawaii that now that they want to go to Hawaii, you can set that up and say, hey, you know what, we can put aside some of that you wanted to put away and get you to that short-term goal, get you that early win, if you will. Right? So there's a lot of different ways to do that, but you come in and decide what that comprehensive conversation becomes. If they have debt, you can go more into detail on the different methods for paying off that debt. And it's as simple as checking a box, right? Instead of interest high to low, I want to show them payments high to low or balance high to low. I click that and the report reformats, and we can have a stop and have a conversation around this particular area that all of a sudden has become more important when you didn't really realize it was that important to them, right? So when we talk about comprehensive, we want to be able to go and break down each one of these individually. Every one of the needs analysis that I talked about has their own reports. I'm only selecting 1 or 2 out of here, but you can decide if that individual is not the captain. The captain wants the chart. Captain wants to see the red and understand what the bottom line is. And that's right here on our 1-pager. The analyst wants to be able to see the detail. So I would show them, a timeline or the detail page, right? The timeline looks like a for those of you familiar, looks like our spreadsheet. It goes year by year and shows them where the shortfall begins, right? So you'll decide what comprehensive means for that individual. We want to just give you all the resources to be able to do that, right? So I'll come back to my overall presentation. I would add a couple reports like I've done here for each of those. And then I'll decide, hey, what is their level of education? So as you can see, we've gone from analysis, we've gathered that data, we've reviewed the summaries for them. Okay, so anyone that has, okay, Mike brings up a very good point. The summary reports. For those of you who are not subscribed to our retail product, this is being released on a private label by private label basis. So if you belong to a company and you don't see it in there, the best way to find out if you should have access to it is just to give us a call. Call the 800 number in the top right of the screen. They'll walk through, where you're at with it. But this is available to our retail subscribers at present, to anyone who is, I believe, with LPL as of today, and there's a couple other private label clients as well. But the best way to find out the current list, because we've submitted these reports to be approved in all of our versions. We have to wait for other compliance departments to say yes. So just give us a call if you don't see it, and you can ask status at least. So apologies, Mike, for that. But hope you're excited to see what you will have access to here, hopefully very soon. So okay, so beyond the analysis and summaries, then we can fill in what the education needs to be. We probably have an understanding at this point of what their maybe temperament is. We have a little bit better understanding of the level of information that maybe is going to work best for them. Now I can come into each individual area of need, whatever the topic is for today, and add the necessary education to go along with it. So it can be something as basic as, hey, have you thought about what retirement's going to look like to you? It seems so silly, but having something that asks questions like, what does peace of mind look like to you? That could be of value. So again, comprehensive in a conversation means, hey, are you thinking about all these different parts? Comprehensive in a plan means, are you looking at all these different areas, right? But when we go, if in business, they talk about T-shaped skills sometimes. And I think this lends itself to the same kind of concept, is you want to both be an expert at all these different areas, right? You want to be able to talk to them about their budget and have things that they can go into for the basics, and then also be able to talk about all these different, specific areas. But then within those specific areas, you have to be able to educate at the top, the middle, and the bottom, meaning be able to explain to someone who's never thought about what retirement is going to look like for them before, what retirement could look like, but also be able to explain to someone who knows a little something, maybe some additional value on conversion factors for like a Roth IRA. Yeah, I know about IRAs, but did you know that there's some benefits to having them that you might not know about, right? So there's a lot of different ways to think about the way that you create a comprehensive conversation versus what a comprehensive plan is, right? So what we like to do is be able to provide you the level and the depth that's required for those two different archetypes that I reviewed before, that captain and that analyst type. A captain wants a high level look at a Roth IRA. He'll talk about, the bullet points of it. And then the analyst wants that 5 to 7 page report on Roth IRAs. So Advisys is as simple as coming in, finding what you need, clicking a box, and then it is added to your presentation. So very quickly, you can go from all we did was talk about cash flow and net worth at the top. Oh, then you told me about these short-term goals. Oh, then you said maybe you do need to look at life insurance. Oh, then you said, well, now that we're looking at life insurance, well, how does that affect what I'm saving for retirement? And so on and so forth. And you can see it builds into a comprehensive conversation or into a comprehensive plan. That's I think from everything that I've seen, and again, I have not done this as a job. I've done sales. I understand the business. I understand these products and how they work. I've been around all of this, but I don't typically see people going, I have 100 questions and I'd like them all answered today in an hour. So more realistically, what's going to happen is they're going to come in with a question, a concern. That's where you start. That's how you start in the analysis. That's how you start to build this conversation. And then your client file becomes this kind of living, growing thing within Advisys that ultimately ends up looking very complex, right? And very big. You can come in and change data as time goes on. It's as easy as changing the analysis date on the assumptions. Everything will kind of roll forward into the future. And you don't have to then come and re-enter everything. We're working with who you are, and then we're coming in and changing the things that change, right? If you decide later that it turns out $9,000 was not nearly enough for us, we ended up having a much more extravagant lifestyle than we wanted. It's as simple as 1 or 2 edits, and then their entire plan gets updated, right? So I've seen all the comprehensive tools out there. I know what they mean by that, and it's data aggregation, it's bells and whistles, like I said. But for the average individual, it doesn't mean that they don't want to be comprehensive. They just have a different way of looking at it. It can't come all at once. You have to take these as they come, as the life evolves. So does your relationship to this client. And I think, within my 9 years of working for Advisys, it's probably the thing that has kept me excited about what we do is it really does that. And it doesn't have to be fancy, and it explains it at a level that anyone can understand. And then depending on who you're talking to, you can pick and choose if you want it to be more detailed. So I don't want to go into all of that for each of these topics today. We have individual, webinars and webcasts that I've hosted on these different topics that go into more detail, into that T depth, if you will. But overall, what I wanted to do today is just kind of show how we can really be used, and how these new reports can really be used to create a comprehensive look at a plan within our program, right? It's not just retirement. It's not just life insurance. It's all of these things that we're able to kind of handle and educate on. And then, even when it's not a full plan, we can have a conversation with people with some of the other tools that are in here. And that's kind of how I want to bookend this is, when you're not creating a plan, when you're not entering a bunch of data, sometimes they have a question that can be answered with 1 page worth of data. Sometimes it's an objection that comes up first before you even get that first conversation. And that's kind of where the calculators, that 4th leg of our stool, if you will, comes in. And it's simple conversations like, hey, you have a mortgage? How much do you have left on that? How are you paying that? Are you paying that monthly? Did they allow you to pay that, bi-weekly? Because if we did make it just a small change to that, and again, we're talking budget really, right? We're not asking you to pay any more. We're just saying if you can split that payment. And granted, you can use this on any simple interest loan. What happens if I split that and I start paying every 2 weeks? Well, guess what? There's an interest saving. It's pretty substantial, $40,000. Pay off your home 5 years sooner. Let's look into that, right? So value comes from a lot of different areas. It doesn't always have to be a comprehensive plan, but we want to have the comprehensive. We want to be the Swiss Army knife, if you will, have a comprehensive tool set at our disposal to help us make these arguments, to help combat some of these, misnomers or, conversations that just kind of come up before the conversation. I'm going to use one more here. Actually, I had it in my presentation, don't I? Well, I'm stumbling, trying to talk and chew bubblegum at the same time, guys. All right, so a couple that I like to always include. The first one was the biweekly mortgage. The next one's the rate of withdrawal in retirement. You have someone who has a nest egg or a target in mind of what they think is their goal. I always use $1 million because when I was a kid, there was a movie called The Blank Check. If any of you guys are in your 30s or 40s, you probably know that movie. A kid writes a check for $1 million and he buys all this stuff. So in my mind, $1 million was like, you're rich, you're a millionaire. If you retired a millionaire, would that be enough? In today's economy, and depending on what you're, again, how do we go back to those some other components that make a comprehensive plan? What do you think about what inflation is going to look like over the next 10 to 20 years? This is where people's opinions and feelings really come back around, right? If you're a kind of person who thinks inflation is going to keep going through the roof, and we're going to see inflations like, we haven't seen in the last 10 or 20 years, that drastically changes what your outlook on your retirement saving strategy might be, right? So the conversation before the conversation, you see what I'm saying? So some of these calculators that we have in here, and there's 50, I think there's oh gosh, there's more than that, 60 or 70 calculators, can handle some of these early objections or steer them in a direction to get them excited about having the next conversation that maybe, before you even start that comprehensive conversation, these are good lead-ins. Another one that I always bring up is that pay debt or invest conversation is, hey, you know what? I'd love to work with you, bud, but right now I'm focused on getting my debt paid off. I don't want to get caught, with all that. I'll come back around when I have some money to spare and put towards these things that you say are important, but I can wait, right? Well, I can actually mathematically show you that sometimes that's just doesn't make sense, that you can actually earn more than your debt's going to cost. So you're still making something on that money, right? So we plug in a couple variables, we get a one-page chart that shows us just that. I could go on and on and on with these, but that's the idea, is comprehensive starts small, right? It starts with the basics, building an understanding, building an interest, answering a question, and then it goes from there, right? Once we have them kind of, an understanding of who they are, then we can start to build out what comprehensive means to them, both from a level of understanding standpoint, like we do with the education in the tool, and from an analysis standpoint, like we do with the different reports that go from, a one-page summary to more in-depth explanations and charts, etc. So really, at a high level, that's how we do it. And we like to say that we're a comprehensive planning tool, but some people don't see it that way. So I'm making my argument, standing on my soapbox and saying, you know what, if you're starting out, this is a really, really good way to educate yourself. But beyond that, it's a really great way to provide value at every level of the sales cycle. Sometimes it's just it's not a product sale. It's just an appointment. It's just a question. Doesn't mean you can't be the person that provides value, who had an answer, who had something to give, right? So with that being said, I'm going to hopefully not glitch out here again and show you guys some of our retail pricing. I know Cody has asked about LPL pricing. As of right now, okay, so we have a couple other questions, time for question and answer, and we'll talk about more individual pricing. But at a retail pricing level, for today, we're offering, and this is $200 off. So the typical pricing is $998 a year, or $799 a year for the two different versions that we offer. Now, the versions go like this. One version has the needs analysis. One version just has the education and the calculators. That's really the only difference. The summary reports would come along with the needs analysis, unfortunately, because they're driven by that data. So you would need to subscribe to that version to get the advanced subscription. I guess that's to Tom's question. And I have another question here that asks, are we going to be charging separate fees for these modules or just one flat fee? The only separate fees or I should say separate costs are the two that you see here, the two tiers that we have. We are not charging for any of the modules separately. At this point, I believe we've rolled up what was the RID module up into the retail version and pricing as well. So everything is just either the education version or the advanced version, but the advanced version includes what we demoed here with the summary reports today. All right. So individual pricing for LPL, I believe you guys are you guys are now $649 a year. I'm not the salesperson and I don't have the rate sheet in front of me for that, but I believe that you're $649 a year. And that's a flat price. I believe you can I think you could probably get $50 off of that for the webinar today, but the real deal is for anyone who doesn't can subscribe to our retail version, $200 off today. When you review in November. Okay. So last question, Robert, I'm going to leave that one to the renewal person. Give a call in to the staff there. I don't want to be giving discounts off the top here. But if, we're always open to help you guys out. If you're not seeing the value, we want to talk to you about that. So if you're looking for a discount, I'd like to understand a little bit, where we can increase some of the value that you're seeing. But definitely we can have that conversation with you, Robert. Otherwise, the retail pricing, we want to give you guys an introductory look at it. So you can do one of two things. You can either take the price today for the $798, have 2 months to work with a couple clients. We'll help you put some materials together in there because all the training and support is included. If you don't like it, you get a money back guarantee. The second thing you can do is you can not pay for it up front. You can do a demo with us, kind of similar to what we've done today, but we'll talk to you a little bit more specifically about what your use case for it might be. And then we'll give you 2 weeks to look at it and try it out for free. But then you got to make a decision, work with us, don't ghost us, that kind of stuff, right? So that's kind of a look at the pricing. Let's maybe make sure I go through any of these other things. So we've said, no, we're not charging separately for any of this. These are all part of our the advanced version of Advisys. We can talk individually about pricing if you're interested in pricing, just give a call to the 800 number. There's salespeople there that can answer those kind of more specific questions about non-retail pricing or renewal pricing, that kind of stuff for those of you who already subscribe. And I think that covers that. If you are interested in reaching out to us, I want to make sure that you have all the different ways that you can do so. We'd love a follow on LinkedIn. We post regularly there some of the content and different ways that you can use the tool. This month being Life Insurance Awareness Month, you'll find a lot of relevant content on having life insurance conversations with people there. So feel free to drop us a follow there. But otherwise, if you have questions, if you want to talk to us, you can go to our website. There's a live chat there. You can call us. All the standard ways to get a hold of us are on the screen now. Does anyone have any other questions about the summary reports or any, pertinence to before we kind of wrap up here? I'm right at time, more or less. I'd like to keep it to 45 minutes, but I want to make sure I give everyone a chance to chime in. If not, again, I'm available. we're easy to reach. We're not a giant corporation where we're hiding. So you can always give me feedback as well. I love to hear it. I'm not I've done 100 plus probably webinars and things like that, but I still wouldn't consider myself an expert. So I'm always open to feedback. Mike asks, are there regular training schedules? Mike, you can get one-on-one training literally anytime that you want just by going to our website and clicking the support tab, and you can schedule one-on-one support. I'll be honest with you, we do host webinars where people can come and get training, like group training, but we don't have very good attendance on those. We get way more people. I don't know if people are afraid of asking questions in a group setting or what, but we don't always get the best attendance. So we do offer one-on-one. You can schedule on your time. They'll give you a couple different options on the type of training that you're looking for as far as, technical or what have you. So by all means, you can find that right on our website. So adding personal, Karen, I'm trying to understand your question here. Is this different from the business planning module? Yes, the business planning module, it really entails 3 modules, right? You're talking about the business continuation, the key employee valuation, and the business valuation modules, depending on what version you're in. Those are, separate from this. This is a lot more for personal planning. However, I would say that you could absolutely, like we said, we are going to look to include some of the other things. We have to find the right way to wrap in that business planning side of it. If they are, let's say, if you're doing both for them, it's a little bit trickier. So yes, I think if I'm understanding that correctly, this is really geared more towards that individual. We do have business planning modules, but they don't so neatly fit into the financial scoring or financial fitness score like we've created there. So hopefully that answers that. Anonymous attendee wants to know, is there going to be a recording? Yes, we did record this. You should receive, if you registered for the webinar, you'll receive a link to that 24 hours after the end of it. So just keep an eye out for that. Which fact finder can we email to a client? That's easy. Well, David, easy is a really subjective term in my opinion. So easy to me and easy to you might be two different things. So easy, we have a couple different things that I would consider easy, which is, and since I've left the 800 numbers up here a little long enough, I'll try to click back here. One of the easy ways you can do it, David, is use our fillable forms. We have actually a couple different versions of these. We have the standard version, which is like what I showed you guys earlier, individually topicked. And then we have these customer-friendly fact finders. These would be what I would call easy. Easy for them to understand, easy for them to complete and get back to you. Like I said, there might be a couple different ways that you're thinking about easy, but this is probably one. Making it easy for them to understand. These are written in without any guesswork to what's being asked of them, and it still gives you all the data that's necessary for that particular area of need. Now, we don't have a way to combine all of these as of today, but that's one easy way. The other easy way would be kind of what I highlighted at the beginning, where using the analysis assumptions is you can pick what's easy for them, right? Maybe it's just those two, debt repayment and personal finance. We're not even going to talk about short-term goals. We're just making it easy for them. Maybe easy is just one at a time, right? That's kind of up to you, but sending them what's easy shouldn't be that hard. And if you have any questions about what specifically might work for you, again, give us a call. We're absolutely available to help you guys with technical questions like, hey, where do I click to do this? Or it's not generating a number like I thought it should here. Or even things like, hey, you know what? This person needs me to make it easier for them. How can I really simplify this particular topic? Those T-shaped skills, we have them both. So, give us a call, reach out, schedule some time, and we can help you guys through any specific client scenarios as well. It's all part of the service that we provide. So that's a little bit of a unique part. So let's see, is there anything else we have here? I'm a little bit over time, but if people are asking questions, I'm always happy about that. No Q&A. Fees you just shown is an annual amount in addition to the 1,000 paid? Okay, no problem. Let's go about over pricing one more time. This is my favorite part because people go, that's it? $798 per year provides you access to provides you access to the advanced tier that you see here. That includes all of the content, the calculators, the 17 different needs analysis, all of the support components that we talked about. Anytime we have an update to the content, it's a flat rate, $798 a year, and that's today's pricing for our retail service. Otherwise, $998 a year is your annual pricing for this. So this is the best price today. If you want to take advantage of that, otherwise $998 a year and $799 a year for the education version that does not include the needs analysis or the summary reports that we reviewed today. The reason that you might subscribe to an education version versus the advanced or the Advisys 798 one that you see here is I already use a comprehensive planning tool that I'm paying probably thousands of dollars a month for. And I can't justify taking on another tool that also calculates things. So, but I do like what you guys provide with calculators and content, right? A lot of people do that. We have a good chunk of a few thousand people that subscribe just for that because they prefer that 20-page fact finder, or they have another tool that they already are ingrained with, and switching over sometimes is a burden, but that might be the reason that you go with that. Otherwise, you're really looking at one flat price per year that includes everything. There's no additional fees, no modules to add on or extra services to buy or anything like that. It's one version or the other, and then one version comes with just a little bit more, and that's the actual calculation component and the summary reports than the other one does. Hopefully that clears something up. And then Augustine, if you do have more questions or anything like that about pricing specific to your broker dealer or any other, affiliate discounts that we offer or versions that we offer, just give us a call. Again, we love talking to you guys and understanding how this might be useful to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us and on that 800 number that I had up here. All right, let's see. Can the software figure estate taxation currently without the ability to add more than 7 digits? You know the answer to that, Mike. It has not changed. I'm going to say that politely and say, unfortunately, no, there's still I believe, a 6-digit limit in there. If I didn't say it much at the beginning, but the heart of what we do is we're a middle market software company. And we don't have a lot of people that have more than $10 million well, maybe I think there's a life insurance policy example, but talk to Ron Smith, give us a ring or reach out to our 800 number and ring his ear about that 7-digit thing. I know I hear it probably once a quarter from somebody. So, but no is the answer, unfortunately, to your estate taxation question, which is, can we add a 7th digit to the field? All right, let's see. Thanks. A lot of thanks. Thanks you guys all for still kind of hanging around. I believe at this point I have answered all of the questions. So at a solid 8 minutes over for questions, I will say thank you guys all very much for hanging out. I do take time and energy to put these kind of thoughts together. I believe in the product that we have and the value that it provides, and hopefully some of that comes through. So if you guys have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, thank you again for being here, and hopefully we'll see you around. All right, take care.